Hello everyone, I'm Dr. CR, MBBS, MD in Health Informatics. Welcome to the New Generation NCLEX-RN mock exam series. In this video, we are going to do 150 different types of New Generation NCLEX-RS questions with the detailed explanation.
NCLEX-RN Practice Test 1, 150 questions. Part 3, Health Promotion and Maintenance. It includes 15 questions. Question number 1, multiple choice. Prenatal care and education. A nurse is providing prenatal education to a client who is 9 weeks pregnant and has had no prior pregnancies. The client states, I don't feel pregnant yet, so I am not sure why I need to take vitamins now. Which response by the nurse best supports health promotion during early pregnancy? A. Vitamins help prevent nausea later in pregnancy. B. Folic acid is important now to support early fetal development. C. Prenatal vitamins are mainly important during the third trimester. D. Vitamins will help increase your energy level. Think the answer. Correct answer is B. Folic acid is important now to support early fetal development. The rationale, folic acid is most critical during early pregnancy, particularly in the first trimester, because it supports proper formation of neural tube, which develops during the first 4 weeks of gestation, often before a woman realizes she is pregnant. Question number 2, drop down. Poisoning prevention. The nurse is providing anticipatory guidance to a parent of a 18-month-old toddler during a well child visit. To minimize the risk of accidental poisoning in the home, the nurse should advise the parent that all medications must be stored. Drop down 1. And that the parent should, drop down 2, refer to medication as candy to encourage the child to take it. So for the drop down 1 and drop down 2, you have to select following items. So the correct answer is, to minimize the risk of accidental poisoning in the home, the nurse should advise the parent that all medications must be stored in a locked or latched cupboard, and that the parent should never refer to medication as candy to encourage a child to take it. Question number 3, matrix type question. The nurse assesses the client's understanding of late pregnancy health promotion. For each client statement, click to specify if the statement indicates a correct understanding or a need for further education. So on the left side, the client statement here. On the right side, if it is correct understanding, you can tick here, or need for further education, you can tick here. So think the answer. So when you look at the first answer, I should lie flat on my back to improve blood flow to the baby. It needs further education, because lying flat in late pregnancy can compress the inferior vena cava, so decreasing venous return and uteroplacental blood flow. So clients should be encouraged to lie on their side, preferably left side, to improve circulation. The second statement, I will call the doctor if I see spots before my eyes or have a bad headache. It's a correct understanding, because visual disturbances and severe headaches are warning signs of preeclampsia and require immediate provider notification to prevent maternal and fetal complications. When you look at the third statement, I should limit my fluid intake to reduce the swelling in my ankles. So it is need for further education. Fluid restriction is not recommended in pregnancy. Adequate hydration helps maintain plasma volume and circulation. Mild dependent edema is common. Management includes leg elevation and side lying positioning, not fluid restriction. When you look at the fourth answer, I need to perform kick counts daily to monitor my baby's movement. So it's a correct understanding. Daily fetal movement counting is an important health promotion strategy in late pregnancy. Decreased fetal movement may indicate fetal compromise and should be reported promptly. Question number 4, ordered response. So you have to drag and drop. The nurse is preparing to teach a client with a low literacy level about a new medication. Place the steps of the teaching process in the correct order. So there are mal-ordered answers are there. So you have to drag and drop in the correct order. So the correct order is, first, assess the client's readiness to learn, then determine the client's preferred learning style, example visual, then provide simple written materials with pictures, and finally ask the client to teach back the information. So this is the correct order. Question number 5, fill in the blank type question. According to the CDC, an adult client should receive a tetanus, diphtheria, TD, or TDAP booster every -years. So you have to write the answer here. So the correct answer is every 10 years. So according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that is CDC, adults should receive a tetanus, diphtheria, or tetanus, diphtheria, acellular pertussis booster every 10 years to maintain immunity against tetanus and diphtheria. Question number 6, multiple choice regarding adolescents. An adolescent client asked the nurse about the HPV vaccine. Which information is most accurate? A, the vaccine is only for females. B, it is more effective if administered before the first sexual encounter. C, it treats existing genital warts. D, only one dose is required for lifetime immunity. So think the answer. The correct answer is it is most effective if administered before the first sexual encounter. HPV vaccine works best when given before exposure to HPC, which most commonly occurs through sexual contact. Vaccinating adolescents prior to their first sexual encounter provides the strongest protection against HPV-related cancers and genital warts. Question number 7, multiple choice nutrition. The nurse assesses the client's BMI of 32. Which health risk is this client at the highest risk for developing? A, osteoporosis. B, type 2 diabetes mellitus. C, anorexia nervosa. D, hypotension. Think the answer. The correct answer is B, type 2 diabetes mellitus. Rationale, a BMI of 32 falls within the obese category, that is more than 30. Obesity significantly increases insulin resistance, which is the primary pathophysiologic factor leading to type 2 diabetes mellitus. Question number 8, multiple response SATA. A nurse is conducting a home safety assessment for an older adult. Which findings indicates a need for intervention? Select all that apply. A, throw rugs in the hallway. B, grab bars installed in the shower. C, clear white pathways between furniture. D, low lighting in the stairwell. E, medication stored in an organizer. So you have to select the correct multiple answers. So when you look at each answer, throw rugs in a hallway is a correct. Throw rugs are a major fall hazard because they can slip or catch in footwear or mobility devices. When you look at answer D, low lighting in the stairwell, it's correct. Poor lighting makes it difficult to see steps clearly and it significantly increases the risk of falls. So when you look at other answers, answer B, grab bars installed in the shower, is not correct because grab bars reduce fall risk and are recommended safety modification. When you look at the answer C, clear white pathways between furniture, that also not correct because this allows safe mobility and use of assistive devices such as walkers or can. When you look at the answer E, medication stored in an organizer, it's also not correct because medication organizers help prevent medication errors and promote adherence. But in our case, the question is which findings indicate a need for intervention. So intervention needed on the answer A and D. Question number 9, multiple choice nutrition. A nurse is caring for a non-English speaking client. Which is the most appropriate action to minimize communication barriers? A, ask the client's 12-year-old daughter to translate. B, speak loudly and slowly in English. C, use a certified medical interpreter via telephone or in person. D, used hand gestures to explain the surgical procedure. So think the answer. The correct answer is C, use a certified medical interpreter via telephone or in person. A certified medical interpreter ensures accurate, complete and confidential communication. Interpreters are trained in medical terminology and ethical standards, which helps prevent misunderstandings, protects client safety and supports informed consent. Question number 10, Ordon's response, newborn. The nurse is performing the following actions immediately post-delivery of a healthy normal newborn. Place the following actions in order of priority. So there are 5 answers available. You have to order depend on the priority. The first one is assess the infant's heart rate. Second one, place the identification bracelets on mothers and infant. Third, administer vitamin K to infant. Fourth, perform bulb suctioning if excessive mucus is present. Fifth, assess the infant's airway and breathing. So rearrange the order. The correct order is first assess the infant's airway and breathing. Airway and breathing are always the top priority in the ABCs. The nurses must first ensure the newborn can breathe effectively and that the airway is clear enough to support oxygenation. The second activity is perform bulb suctioning if excessive mucus is present. Suctioning is done only if needed, that is not routine. If mucus interferes with breathing, clearing the airway follows immediately after identifying a breathing issue. Third action is assess the infant's heart rate. Heart rate is the most critical indicator of neonatal status and guides whether the further intervention or resuscitation are required. And the fourth action is place the identification bracelets on the mothers and infant. Identification is important for safety and legal purposes but is performed after the newborn is stabilized. And finally, administer vitamin K to the infant. Vitamin K prevents hemorrhagic diseases of the newborn, but it is not emergent and is given once immediate assessment and stabilization are complete. Question number 11, multiple choice, primary prevention. Which of the following is example of tertiary prevention? A. Administering influenza vaccine. B. Performing a mammogram. C. Teaching a client with a stroke how to use a walker. D. Educating high school students about smoking cessation. Think the answer. The correct answer is C. Teaching a client with a stroke how to use a walker. Tertiary prevention focuses on reducing complication, restoring function, and maximizing quality of life after a disease or injury has already occurred. Teaching a client who has had a stroke how to use a walker is rehabilitative care, which is the hallmark of tertiary prevention. Question number 12, multiple choice, antepartum. A client at 28 weeks of gestation is diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Which health maintenance instruction is the priority? A. Avoid all carbohydrates. Monitor blood glucose levels as prescribed. C. Increase strenuous exercises immediately. D. Delivery will be scheduled for 38 weeks. So think the answer. The correct answer is B. Monitor blood glucose levels as prescribed. The rationale: the priority in managing gestational diabetes mellitus is maintaining euglycemia to prevent maternal and fetal complications. Example: microsomia, hypoglycemia, preeclampsia. So regular blood glucose monitoring allows evaluation of how well diet, activity, and possible medication are controlling glucose levels and guides timely intervention. Question number 13, multiple choice, adult health. A 45-year-old female client asked about screening for osteoporosis. The nurse should explain that a DEXA scan is generally recommended to start at age 65 unless A. She has a history of smoking and low body weight. B. She has never been pregnant. C. She eats at high calcium diet. D. She exercises 3 times a week. Think the answer. The correct answer is she has a history of smoking and low body weight. Also, routine DEXA, that is dual energy X-ray absorptiometry screening for osteoporosis, is generally recommended starting at age 65. Earlier screening is indicated for women with significant risk factors. A history of smoking and low body weight are well-established risk factors for decreased bone density and increased fracture risk, warranting earlier evaluation. Question number 14. Multiple choice, newborn. When educating a mother about sudden infant death syndrome, that is SIDS prevention, which statement is correct? A. Baby should sleep in your bed for easy breastfeeding. B. Place the baby in a prone position to prevent choking. C. Use a pacifier at nap time and bedtime. D. Keep the room very warm to ensure the baby doesn't get cold. Think the answer. The correct answer is use a pacifier at nap time and bedtime. So the rationale, evidence-based guidelines for sudden infant death syndrome prevention show that offering a pacifier during sleep, once breastfeeding is well established, is associated with the reduced risk of SIDS. So let's analyze other answers. Baby should sleep in your bed for easy breastfeeding. So bed sharing increases the risk of SIDS and accidental suffocation. So room sharing without bed sharing is recommended. And answer B, place the baby in a prone position to prevent choking. Actually, infants should be placed supine on the back for every sleep. Prone positioning significantly increases the SIDS risk. When you look at the answer D, keep the room very warm to ensure the baby doesn't get cold. That overheating is a known risk for SIDS. The infant should be kept comfortably warm, not hot. Question number 15, multiple choice, vision screening. A nurse is performing a Snellen eye chart exam on the school-age child. The child's vision is recorded as 20 by 40. How should the nurse interpret this? A. The child can see at 40 feet what a normal eye sees at 20 feet. B. The child can see at 20 feet what the normal eye sees at 40 feet. C. The child has perfect vision in the right eye but not the left. And D. The child is legally blind. So think the answer. The correct answer is the child can see at 20 feet what a normal eye sees at 40 feet. A Snellen visual acuity of 20 by 40 means that the child must be 20 feet away to see what a person with normal vision can see clearly from 40 feet away. This indicates reduced visual acuity but not the blindness. So this is the bonus question. A postpartum client who is not breastfeeding asked how to suppress lactation. What should the nurse recommend? A. Manually express milk every 4 hours. B. Apply warm compresses to the breast. C. Wear a tight-fitting supportive bra continuously for 72 hours. D. Use a breast pump only when the breasts feel engorged. So think the answer and leave the answer in the comment section with your rationale.
If you have any issues in the preparation of NCLEX-RN examination, please leave in the comment section. If you have any questions or any doubts, you can contact me anytime using my email or WhatsApp number provided. So please subscribe my channel and stay with me. Thank you.